Y'all know I love when I can bring a client struggle to you. A client texted me this week, a little bit terrified. She wanted to stop on her calorie deficit for a bit. She wanted to eat more, let her body come up to maintenance. And she said the scariest part out loud, which I love that she allows herself to be vulnerable with me. And this is the part that most people never admit. If I add food back, will I slip up and gain it all back? The fear has followed this client even when she was in the best shape of her life. And of course, I told her the truth. You are leaner, stronger. You're also the one who puts the food in your mouth. This whole episode is about that sentence because reverse dieting isn't really a nutrition problem. It's a trust problem. And today we are going to fix the way you think about it. So welcome back to the Mindset Mirror Connection podcast. Welcome to the Mindset Mirror Connection podcast, the podcast where we have honest conversations about food, body, exercise, and mindset. I'm your host, Christina Hathaway, licensed associate marriage and family therapist with specialized training in food and body obsession, certified personal trainer and nutrition coach. And we have candid conversations about how your mind, your body, and your identity are one integrated system and teach you how to treat it accordingly. So if you're a high-performing individual who loves educational, thoughtful, and no bullshit conversations around health and wellness, you're in the right place. Here we believe what you say in your mind, you see in the mirror. So let's have a conversation about that. What is up, guys? Welcome back to the Mindset Mirror Connection podcast. I'm so excited you took out this time for yourself to learn something about your physical and mental health. I'm Christina Hathaway. I am an associate level therapist in the state of Arizona with specialized training in food and body obsession, certified personal trainer and nutrition coach. And today we're talking about reverse dieting and body recomposition. But more than just the mechanics of it, we're talking about the fucking head game underneath it, because that's the part that actually decides whether it works or not. I know this, and a lot of my clients, I have had to walk off the ledge for this. So if you're someone who thinks about eating more and gets scared, even when a coach like me says this is probably the best thing for you, then this is the episode for you. If you've white-knuckled your way through a deficit for way too long because stopping felt like giving up, or that you were going to gain it all back, or you've even looked at the scale going up a half a pound from a reverse diet and started spiraling, then please get comfy. Okay, because we're going to get into it. So I wanted to start just reminding you what a reverse diet is, because for some of you, you may not realize. A reverse diet is exactly what it sounds like. You may have spent weeks or months in a calorie deficit, right? And now slowly, deliberately, we want to add food back. And we want to bring your calories up in small steps until you're eating at maintenance. And that's the amount of food that your body will hold steady. Now, I want to explain why that's important. Because remember, when you're in a calorie deficit, you are withholding 300 to 500 calories of energy from your body that your body needs. So why does it need that? Because your expenditure, or the calories that you're burning, that are not just exercise. The exercise is a small percentage of where we burn calories. We burn it at rest the most. We burn it through the thermic effect of food, of chewing and digesting food. And we burn it through NEAT, which is non-exercise activity, which is me doing this with my hand, putting 1, 2, and 3 up. There's a total, right? And it's a range of what we need in a day. So when we're in a calorie deficit, we're deducting 300 to 500 calories from that total. Now, that total changes based on your body weight. So your total before you started dieting and when you're done in the deficit is going to be different. And that's where the reverse diet comes in. Okay. We slowly and deliberately, being the key word, increase your calories to find your new maintenance. And this is the part that a lot of people miss. And it's the part that terrifies them. And today I want to kind of debunk some of that, because a reverse diet is not a break where you stop paying attention to the amount of energy that you get in. It is not a free for all. It's not the weekends where the wheels come off. It's the exact opposite of that. It's a controlled and purposeful feedback with rails. It has rails. You're still steering this fucking ship. We're just steering it with more food instead of less food, okay? And your body should not live in a deficit forever. That's the thing that no one talks about. You need to get in and out of that cut. You should be at maintenance longer than you should be in a deficit. Maintenance is where we need to be. It's the resting state your body's supposed to spend most of its life in. The deficit is meant to be for a season, not for your life. So learning how to do this now and learning the mental barriers is going to be incredibly important. But again, let's just get into a little bit more of why the reverse diet is helpful. Why are we willingly eating more when your goal might even still be to lose, right? There's a lot of reasons. The first reason is recovery and repair. When you've been under a long stretch where your body is running on a lean amount of fuel, right? Your hormones will dip. It can affect your sleep. Your workouts can start feeling flat. Your energy just kind of drags by the afternoon. And bringing food back gives the body what it needs to repair and rebuild, which is what we want. We want that body to come back online. Secondly, this is where recomp happens. Recomp is building muscle and losing fat sometimes at the same time. Your muscle needs fuel to grow, and it cannot build without anything while you're starving. It cannot do that. So the reverse diet done right is often where people finally start seeing the body changes, the shape in their body, even though the scale is not moving. The composition shifts, the muscle comes on, the softness goes off, the same weight, maybe even a little higher, but a completely different body. I see it all of the time. And when people finally trust this process and we go through the things that I'm talking about today, they are amazed by it. And third is the long game part, right? And what my client was asking about. When you cut for too long, your body adapts. It gets efficient. It learns to run on less calories. So eventually that low number that you're eating will stop working and you've got nowhere to go. You've got nothing left to cut unless you're going to completely feel like shit. So bringing those calories back up helps to rebuild your maintenance so that the next time you want to lose weight, you're cutting from a much higher, healthier starting point. You're getting buff, you're getting that muscle, and you've got metabolic room to work with, which is exactly what we want. So again, if your ultimate goal is weight loss, the reverse serves this goal. I promise you. You're playing the long game, but you're trading a little patience now for a body that will respond better later instead of one that's just tired, stuck, and plateaued that you're stressed out over. Okay. So that is the logic of this. And I want to talk about why so many people struggle with this process. I cannot tell you. I have clients that have to reverse diet a couple of times before they really get this because there is an absolute mental struggle. And that's what this episode is really about, because reverse dieting seems pretty simple on paper, but it can be absolutely brutal in your brain. So I want to go over the things that I have recognized in my clients that actually comes up. So the biggest thing is you step on a scale that doesn't move and you panic, right? You're eating more, you're bracing for a number to jump, or you've been in a deficit for so long, you just are so used to that scale number coming down, or at least your mentality when you step on is seeing a number come down. And you get anxious. You think something is wrong. It feels very uncomfortable to not see the scale move. And there is nothing wrong. That is a win. You are literally eating more food and your weight is holding steady. That's your body absorbing the extra fuel and putting it to work and not storing it. A flat scale on more calories is a fucking gift. Learn to read it as a green light instead of a threat. I love it. It's one of my favorite things to point out for a client. But like, wow, like even if they're going through a hard season and I'm like, look, you have gone through this last 2 months of craziness. We decided to be at maintenance because you're stressed out. You don't need to be eating less and you didn't gain a pound. Now, we always look at weight in a range. There's never just one weight that you stay at. But here's the other thing. The scale might go up in a reverse diet and then the spiral begins, right? So it moves maybe a pound or two, maybe 3. Your brain screams, you're blowing it. You're undoing everything. You're gaining it all back. See, you can't do it. You can't eat more, blah, blah, blah. you need to calm the fuck down and take a breath. Most of that early bump that we see is actually not fat. It's because you're eating more food. So more food is more volume in your digestive system. More carbs pull more water, right? It's not fat gain. It's your muscles feeling back up, which is exactly what we want them to do if we're trying to build anything. The scale is the noisiest, most emotional tool that you own, okay? And it measures your relationship with a glass of water as much as anything else. I need you to hear that. So number one morning tells you nothing. Even on average, if your weight has gone up, that is okay if the other things we're going to talk about later are happening, okay? Number 3 is eating more food when you've had a history of binging or emotional eating. And this can be a very tender one. And I don't want to rush past this. I want to give it its time, because if you've had a rocky relationship with food, or you still have one, the instruction to eat more can feel like handing your car keys to the exact part of you that you don't trust, right? And your car keys to you with a couple of wines, right? The fear isn't really about the calories. It's about control. Now, don't hand yourself car keys. You should not be drinking and driving. Anyways, it's about control. It's a belief that if you give yourself permission to eat more, you won't be able to stop. And my client said it perfectly. She said that the fear is that there's no buffer. So if she slips, she'll gain it all back. And that's the root of always being afraid. The old thinking never fully leaves you. You think, I'm still that person. But here's what I told her. I said, you are the buffer. You are the one who decides. The reverse diet isn't asking you to lose control at all. It's asking you to trust yourself and your body with a little more room, a little more fuel. And if that trust isn't there yet, that's not a nutrition problem, right? We don't solve that in a macro calculator. That's mindset work. And that mindset work comes first. And as I tell you guys all the time, if you're starting to get critical in any aspect of your health journey, we need to get curious instead. And we need to understand that we are no longer that person who binge eats and loses control. We have a protocol in place and a coach here to help you. Number 4 is this fantasy of what the reverse diet is not, and kind of lying to yourself about what the extra calories mean. And this is really practical, but in your head, eating more can feel enormous. Like reversing means thousands of extra calories. And it's something I see people do. And they're like, see, it doesn't work for me. And I'm like, no, boo, you literally ate in a surplus because you're telling yourself in your brain that you could add on a cheeseburger, fries, and a shake every day. You cannot, right? A real reverse diet is literally about 300 to 500 extra calories to start. That's it. And most people have no idea how small that actually feels. And I get this because when I cut people, I don't usually cut them down to 500. I usually cut them down to 250, and then we'll do another 100. 500 calories in a deficit feels like a lot. I get that because you're hungry. But bringing you up to maintenance is not even bringing you above. You're not in a surplus. And so I get the contrast of when I cut 500, it feels like a lot. So eating 500 would feel like a lot. But really, if we're cutting properly, I just look at my clients' current portions and I say, okay, we're going to cut this by half and this by half. And that's all they do. And they're like, oh, that's easy change. And it doesn't feel like a lot. So just wanted to say that. So 300 to 500 calories is 2 string cheese, an apple, and a spoonful of peanut butter. It's a cup of Greek yogurt with some berries, a scoop of protein. It's 2 eggs, a piece of toast, and 50 grams of avocado. It's an extra palm of chicken or a little more rice at the dinner table. That's the whole difference. It could be an extra snack, or a slightly bigger dinner. That's all the thing is there. But the trap is, this is why the parameters matter so much. Because if you tell yourself, I'm reversing, I don't actually have to track the food. When you just vibe your way through eating with no numbers, That 300 to 500 calories quietly kind of scoops up to 1,000, then 1,500, and now you are gaining fat. Are you tired of wasting your money on diet and exercise program that leave you feeling pretty much the same? You're spinning your wheels, but the food noise is still there, the body dysmorphia, the overtraining and not seeing results, the emotional eating, it's all still there. But you don't think you have an option because they're pretty much all the same. What if the next program you invest in combines therapeutic practice with exercise and nutrition science and behavioral change? What if this program focuses on what you say in your mind so that you can have a better relationship on what you see in the mirror? Hi, I'm Christina Hathaway, licensed therapist with specialized training in food and body obsession, certified personal trainer and nutrition coach, and I'm the founder of the Mindset and Matter coaching program. Here, we see your mind, your body, and your identity as one integrated system and treat it as such. We focus on your self-defeating beliefs and understand how they impact your behaviors and thus the outcomes that you feel stuck in. We do this through the Mindset Method, my psychological curriculum that I've curated with over 15 years experience and adapted it to you, the average woman, and this coaching program. This is one method, one program, one coach, and let's face it, the one area you've probably never done the work on. So if you're tired of spinning your wheels and wasting your money, check out the link below for more information. You blame the reverse diet. The reverse diet didn't do this to you, baby. You just lacked the control aspect of it. We've got to pay attention to what control is. So think of it as that. Two string cheese, an apple, and a small, deliberate size of peanut butter, right? These small moves keep you in the lines, right? And if we think of it as a free-for-all and act accordingly, then yeah, you're going to gain weight. It's the same tool with two completely different outcomes. I think I've talked about it on here before where I saw a client her husband is in the military, and while he was deployed, she lost a good amount of weight. And the couple months of him being back, she's gained weight back. And I looked at her total weight gain and what she was tracking, and I did the math on how much extra she was probably intaking in this time to gain that little bit of weight. And I think it was like 50 to 100 calories every day over the course of this time period. And when I showed her that, I did just talk about this. I said, that's good because that's a small change that we can make very easily. The difference is entirely how you're thinking about it. So of all of those, which ones do you struggle with the most, right? Which one of those is something that we need to focus on up front in the reverse, right? Because the other thing you have to realize, guys, is when you're reverse dieting before maintenance, that's a process before you hit maintenance. You're technically still in a deficit until you hit maintenance. So during that time, you are eating more. That's a great time to work on some of these mindset shifts, okay? So how to actually measure success in reverse is important to note. So if this scale is the wrong scoreboard, what do you need to watch instead? Because here's where people get lost, right? They add the food, the scale won't quote unquote cooperate, and they have no other way to measure if they're being successful. So they quit or they use their little deficit safety blanket. We don't do that. Here is what I want you to actually focus on in a reverse diet. Number one is your strength. And of course, this is my favorite. Are you lifting heavier? Are you lifting more? Are you getting an extra rep? Are you moving weight that used to crush you, right? If you are, your added fuel is doing its job. That's your body building, right? Watch the numbers in the gym go up while the scale stays flat. Those are the extra pounds that you want, baby. And you will never trust the scale again when you do this. You're like, fuck that scale, right? Energy is another one. Are you making it through the afternoon without the crash, without feeling like you're jumping off of a cliff? Are your workouts sharper? Do you feel like a person again instead of someone just rationing themselves in the Oregon Trail, right? That energy comeback is such great progress. And sometimes you guys don't even pay attention to it. It's very important. Sleep, of course, when you're under eating, it can very much make your sleep thin and restless. As food comes back, a lot of people finally sleep through the night. That's your nervous system settling, because when we're not eating enough, it can feel like a stress on the body. And when you're getting more, all of this works together too, y'all. All of it works together because, as I talked about even on the PMOS episode, when your sleep is in alignment and your nutrition, it all works together in one beautiful system. And what I mean by that is you see outcomes sooner just by adding in more food. It's crazy. I know. Eating more is not gaining, okay? I want you to say that back to yourself. You are eating more food than you were, and your weight is staying steady. That's a metabolic win, full stop, because your body is saying, oh, I can maintain the weight, the goal weight, we'll just use those words. I can maintain this goal weight and not gain it back and then some like I have in the past, because I've deliberately added those calories back in a proper way. Such a great win. Such a great win. Other things are measurements and the mirror, right? Get the tape measure, take photos, notice how your clothes fit. Recomp shows up long before it shows up on the scale, because muscle and fat weigh the same, but take up widely different space. So you can hold the same exact weight and look completely different in 3 to 6 months. The scale will never tell you that story, but your waistband will. However, keep in mind, if you're building your quads and your ass, your pants are going to feel tight here, but maybe not around the waist, right? If you're me, I wear small tops, but sometimes I have to get a medium because my lats are so big and my delts. This is fucking fit girl problems. So just because your pants are feeling tighter in the thighs, because now you have these massive, beautiful quads, hamstrings, and glutes, they may be, and this is not a fun thing. I have these skirts that I need every single one of them taken in because of this shit. So I'm not saying it's a walk in the park. The other thing that's hard is taking off your damn sports bra. Anyways, moving on. Better mood, right? Better mood is great. Craving settling, food noise lowering, huge, because just by giving yourself more fuel and doing it in a way, again, because we still want to be eating a quality amount of food, right? On top of increasing the quantity. I didn't say go get a cheeseburger. I said 2 string cheese, an apple, and some peanut butter. Quality food, right? We still want to be paying attention to our macros and micronutrients. And when we do that, our body is getting the energy it needs, so it's not searching for it. So food noise is lowered because of that. We're eating more throughout the day. So again, food, we're not searching for food. We have the mental energy to manage our emotions. That's really important. Fuel includes mental fuel. So we're less likely to turn to food for emotional regulation. Not to say it doesn't necessarily take away emotions, but we have the capacity, the mental energy to choose something other than food, right? So all of these things help reduce food noise, because most research says that food noise is loud when our bodies are deprived. There could be some hormonal things that come along with that as well. But again, food helps to regulate your hormones. The other thing too is it can also help regulate your cycle, because for some people, if they've been in a deficit for a long time, their body doesn't feel safe to reproduce. So eating more can help with that. And at the end of the day, you're going to discover a relationship with your body that you've never even realized. It's like in your wildest dreams, did you realize I can eat more, look great, feel great. My body is working, firing on all cylinders, and I'm okay. But we have to acknowledge what is going on mentally. This whole thing depends on you surrendering to the process. Not surrendering as giving up, surrendering in trusting that your body isn't out to get you. It is not. It's actually very fucking brilliant. Trusting that more food is not the enemy, and trusting that the person holding the fork is you. You're holding the fork. You'd honestly be surprised how much your body can change with eating more. You just have to remember, it is not a free-for-all. It's you deciding a little more than you're used to, finding those quality foods, And just remembering it's not a buffet, right? You're the buffer. You always have been the buffer. And you are not the person you used to be. So I hope you guys found this helpful. I feel like I have my notes, which keeps me really on track, which is nice. I do want to say that I struggled with this too. I've tried to get my maintenance up past 2,500 calories, and I struggled with the weight gain, right? But I will bring it back down and then just go up in smaller increments just to help myself. And I work with all of my clients on this, but I do want to acknowledge that it is the fear is real. And if you have not done work on your relationship with food, this is, like I said, a really great time to do that. Now, obviously, that is something that I do in my work with clients. We still have our traditional coaching open for the time being as we pushed our concierge. We just introduced it to some referral partners here in the Valley, and I'm going to be starting whenever this is out. Yeah, I will be in some magazines here in the Valley. So if you live in Arizona and you live in Paradise Valley or Scottsdale, you'll see my little face introducing concierge. But this is what we do, right? We are going to help you with the relationship you have with food, because subconsciously your brain does want to default back to what it knows in uncomfortable situations. But knowing that and being prepared for that and knowing how to face that and reframe it is really important. It's a huge step in this process. So I wish every woman to reverse diet. I think it's one of the most miraculous things you can do because it feels like magic. There are other words women tell me. They're like, I just feel like a unicorn. I'm eating way more calories than I ever have in my life. My body has never looked so good. I've never slept so good. And I'm not binge eating anymore. I'm not emotionally eating. And I feel great. I feel great. I look great. And I'm going to tell you something, y'all. Those people on like the fitness influencers who are ripped, they're doing this. They're reverse dieting and gaining a little bit of fat. And then this is what they do is they take a picture of the scale going up and then they cut again. And they're like, join my 7-week challenge. It's all a ploy and whatever. However, they're not always in a deficit. They are building. That's how people who go on stage to bodybuild, they go through a bulking phase is what they call it, or a building phase for a longer time than they're actually cutting, because they know if they want to look chiseled in their calves, their lats, their shoulders, and is it their quads or glutes, they got to eat more. They've got to eat more, and it gets real uncomfortable for them, but then they know they're cutting, right? And again, this is where we should live. Majority of the year, I've said this many times on this podcast, you should only have deliberate cuts throughout the year, even if you're someone who has a lot of weight to lose. And I've said this recently, but because my client had reached out, I was like, this would be a good topic of conversation to have with you guys. So I hope you enjoyed this. If say you have a friend who's plateauing and she's been in a cut for a long time, send this over to her. There's also other reverse diet episodes that we can link below. So if you want more information on the logistics and how to do it, please, this content is yours. It's for you to explore. If you are interested in talking about this more and what this might look like for you, check out the show notes for the link to a little combo with me, straight with me. People are always surprised it's me. This is a 2 women show, myself and Miss Ira. We love her so much. And don't forget, guys, starting in September, we're doing our second collective, which is our 8-week cohort. This is a cohort that teaches you how to create healthy habits while being adaptable and flexible to your everyday life. What does that mean? We only look at the next 7 days of what you got going on, and we plan nutrition and exercise around that in a way that does not put more on your to-do list. It actually reduces the friction when it comes to meal prepping and exercise based on how much time you have. So if you're interested in the collective, I will also make sure that is linked below. Obviously, you're getting in early, but I'm really excited. We had a great turnout. We had a lot of great feedback from our clients who completed the first one. That's it. Also, not it. If you love this, review, follow, subscribe. You know the drill. When you do that, it helps me. I don't have any sponsors. I don't get paid for this. So I would love for you guys to just help spread the word of this podcast. And as always, I'm going to leave you the same way I do every single week, reminding you that what you say in your mind, in the mirror. Goodbye.